You don't need to spend $100 on a rice cooker to get fluffy, reliable rice. But there's a big difference between finding a cheap rice cooker and finding one that's actually worth buying. Some are tiny and perfect for one person. Some can handle a family-sized batch, and others give you useful features without making things complicated. So if you're trying to stay under $50, these are 5 rice cookers worth putting on your radar. And if you like knowing what's actually worth your money before you buy, hit subscribe. I compared the features, capacity, convenience, and customer feedback to narrow these down. So let's get into number 5. Coming in at number 5 is the Amusa 10-cup deluxe stainless steel electric rice cooker with steam tray. If your idea of a rice cooker is basically I need to make a lot of rice without making this complicated, the Amusa 10-cup deluxe is one to look at. This is the largest capacity option on our list, with a 10-cup uncooked rice capacity, so it's aimed much more at families, gatherings, and anyone who regularly cooks in bulk. And it doesn't stop at rice. The included steam tray allows you to steam foods such as vegetables while your rice cooks, which can turn the appliance into a convenient way to prepare part of an entire meal. The operation is intentionally simple. Add your ingredients, start cooking, and the cooker automatically switches to keep warm mode once the rice is finished. That's particularly useful if everyone isn't sitting down to eat at exactly the same time. There's also a stainless steel exterior that gives it a more substantial look than some of the basic plastic rice cookers in this price range. But there's a catch to that huge capacity. If you're cooking for 1 or 2 people, this is probably more appliance than you need. And because it's designed around simplicity, don't expect the kind of precise digital programming you'd get from a more advanced rice cooker. For a large household that wants capacity, steaming capability, and simple operation without spending a fortune, the Amusa is a compelling option. At number 4, we have the Black+Decker 6-cup rice cooker. Sometimes the best rice cooker is the one that doesn't make you think too much. That's where the Black+Decker 6-cup rice cooker comes in. It's designed around the basics. Cook your rice, switch to keep warm when it's finished, and get on with your meal. The 6-cup cooked capacity makes it much more practical for everyday household use than a tiny personal cooker, without taking up the space of a huge family-sized machine. And because it isn't loaded with complicated controls, it's particularly appealing if you're buying your first rice cooker or simply don't care about a dozen cooking programs. The included steaming basket is another useful touch. You can steam vegetables or other foods while preparing rice, which means you're not necessarily using the rice cooker for just one thing. The trade-off is that simplicity means fewer ways to customize the cooking process. If you want extensive digital settings or specialized programs, this isn't the model I'd choose. But if your priority is simple rice, useful steaming, and a price that stays comfortably budget-friendly, Black+Decker makes a lot of sense. Coming in at number 3 is Aroma Housewares 6-cup rice cooker and food steamer now. If you want something that sits right in the middle between a basic rice cooker and a more versatile kitchen appliance, the Aroma Housewares 6-cup is worth a serious look. The appeal here is versatility. Along with cooking rice, the included steaming basket gives you the option of preparing vegetables, meat, seafood, and other foods while the rice cooks below. That can be surprisingly useful when you're trying to put together a complete meal without dirtying several pots. The 6-cup cooked capacity is also a nice middle ground. It's large enough for everyday family meals, but doesn't demand the counter space of the biggest cookers on this list. And this is where Aroma has an advantage for someone who doesn't want to spend time babysitting a pot of rice. Once cooking is finished, the cooker switches to keep warm mode, so you have a little more flexibility around mealtime. The downside is that the control system is still relatively basic compared with premium programmable rice cookers. If you're looking for highly specific settings for different rice varieties or advanced customization, you'll need to spend more. For everyday cooking, though, the Aroma offers a very useful combination of rice cooking, steaming, and convenience at a budget-friendly price. At number 2 is the Dash Mini Rice Cooker. Now, let's completely change direction. The Dash Mini isn't trying to compete with the big family rice cookers on this list. It's designed for people who don't need one. With a 2-cup capacity, this tiny cooker is especially useful for one person, a couple, a dorm room, a small apartment, or anyone who simply wants to prepare a small amount of rice without pulling out a large appliance. And the small size is actually the biggest advantage. You can keep it on a crowded countertop, store it easily, and make a quick portion without having to deal with a huge pot. It's also useful beyond plain rice. Depending on the model and recipe, you can use a mini cooker for foods such as oatmeal, quinoa, grains, and other small meals. But let's be realistic about what you're buying. The Dash Mini is not the rice cooker I'd recommend for a family of 5. Its small capacity means larger meals will require multiple batches, and that's exactly what we're trying to avoid with a full-sized rice cooker. But for a single person or anyone living in a small space, a tiny rice cooker can actually provide better value than a much larger one you'll rarely fill. That's why the Dash Mini earns its spot on this list. Taking our top spot is the Hamilton Beach Digital Programmable Rice Cooker and Food Steamer, and I think this one makes the most sense for shoppers who want the best balance of capacity, convenience, and versatility without moving into expensive territory. The digital controls give you more flexibility than the basic cook-and-warm models we've talked about. You can select different cooking functions, and the programmable design makes it easier to plan meals around your schedule rather than standing over the appliance, waiting for the rice to finish. It also works as a food steamer, so you're not limited to rice. You can prepare vegetables and other foods alongside your meal, which makes the appliance more useful in a busy kitchen. The capacity is another reason I put it at number 1. It's large enough for family meals without being as oversized as the 10-cup Amusa, giving it a nice balance between everyday use and larger portions. Now, it isn't perfect. A digital rice cooker with more functions can take a little longer to learn than a basic one-button model. And if you mostly cook plain rice and don't care about programming, some of those extra features may not matter to you. But that's exactly why I like it for this list. It doesn't try to be the smallest, the simplest, or the biggest. It gives you a useful middle ground between convenience and versatility, while staying in the budget category. The best rice cooker under $50 really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're cooking for a crowd and want maximum capacity, the Amusa 10-cup Deluxe gives you plenty of room and includes a steaming tray. If you prefer something straightforward, the Black+Decker 6-cup keeps things simple. The Aroma 6-cup gives you a little more versatility for everyday meals, while the Dash Mini is the obvious choice if you're cooking for 1 or 2 and don't want a giant appliance taking up your kitchen. But for the best overall balance of capacity, convenience, and versatility, I'd put the Hamilton Beach Digital Programmable Rice Cooker and Food Steamer at the top. And remember, you don't need to buy the biggest rice cooker just because it has the highest capacity. Think about how much rice you actually make, how many people you're feeding, and whether you'll use the extra functions. That's how you get the best value for your money. You'll find links to all 5 rice cookers featured in this video in the description below. If you decide to purchase through one of those links, we may earn a small commission at no additional cost to you, which helps support home and kitchen finds. If this video helped you find the right rice cooker, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Home and Kitchen Finds for more honest kitchen product comparisons, buying guides, and recommendations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.